On this episode of MythBusters,
Clear!
there's heart-stopping tension as the team does some breaking and entering.
It hasn't set off the alarm yet.
They're putting classic crime movies to the test, from laser beam alarms to air duct climbs. The MythBusters are cracking on to separate Hollywood heist fact from fiction.
Try and steal that.
And it all culminates in one of the most daring stunts in MythBusters history.
If we do something wrong, he could die.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman.
Aren't tracer rounds illegal?
Between them, over 30 years special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about.
Joining them, Tori Belleci,
Science is fun.
Carrie Byron,
Guess what I did today?
and Grant Imahara.
You guys ready for this?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
So what do we got?
Well, that's just the thing. We didn't get an outline this time. We just got an envelope with 2 tapes in it. One labeled Your Mission and one labeled The Plan.
Yeah, well, stop jabbering and put one in.
Jabbering. This is kind of cool.
Good morning, Mythbusters. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to investigate the great Hollywood heists. You must find out whether the breaking and entering stunts seen in the movies, from tiptoeing around lasers to climbing air ducts with magnets, are really possible.
Now we finally get to see if all those cat burglar movies we've seen are actually true.
It's cool.
It is very cool.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Wait, let's see what it does.
Great.
That is awesome.
We've all seen the movies. Our action hero embarks on an impossible mission as he cruises his way past all sorts of high-tech gadgetry to secure his bountiful booty.
So what's next?
Well, we got this second tape called The Plan. Let's see what it says.
Grant will be mission controller in charge of building an assault course armed with the latest Hollywood security devices. Then, our heist heroes, aka Adam, Jamie, Tori, and Carrie, must work their way through the maze to see if these Hollywood heists are all they're cracked up to be.
I love this myth. We finally get to be like movie cat burglars.
Yeah, and Grant, will you, Carrie, and Tori build us a security assault course or something like that?
Absolutely. Are there any plans?
I think the tape might have something to say. Let's see.
I've provided Grant with that classic movie scene, a wire diagram that precisely details the course.
Well, sounds great. We'll get started right away.
Excellent.
And here it is. For this heist whodunit, Adam and Jamie will start by scaling an air duct before navigating through a room guarded by lasers. Then they'll have to cut through a glass door to access the jewelry room. Inside, there's first a gold bust of Buster that's sitting on a pressure switch. And then there's a big old safe to crack. And the job of securing this ultimate jungle gym falls down to Tori, Grant, and Carrie.
Now remember the safety word is run.
It may look like they're constructing a rather dull office in a rather large warehouse. But believe it or not, this is going to be heist headquarters.
They're going to start by climbing into a vent system that's going to go 20 feet up. They have to climb up the vent into a set of corridors, get through doors, finally into our chamber where our safe is there, and they're going to try to crack the safe.
Thanks to Tori's diving and ducting, the air vent is coming together like a breeze.
Okay, clamp.
But this metal monstrosity is just one part of the mythical maze. It also comes complete with laser beams, pressure pads,
Perfect.
impenetrable glass, and head guard Grant's even built himself a special security cage.
This is the mission control area. It's supposed to be the most secure area around, and this is where we're going to monitor the team's progress through the maze. I can monitor up to 4 cameras at once. They're placed throughout the area. This is a power supply for the bell and the klaxon.
And with the maze sounding off nicely, the key ingredient gets locked into place. It's this safe that'll hold the grand prize, and it'll be down to Adam and Jamie to crack it.
Oh. Does anybody know the combination of that safe?
While Tori decides whether to be safe or sorry, the first challenge beckons. It's a movie classic, but not a classic movie. In Fire Trap, Dean Cain ventures into a vent armed with 2 magnets. With Superman-like strength, he silently hauls himself up, while security remains blissfully unaware of the imminent robbery. To walk the plank on this myth, Adam and Jamie are going head-to-head with 2 different climbing systems, and Jamie has already bagged the magnets.
Since I was about, I'd say in my late teens, I've had a fascination with magnets. And I had a friend that worked at a company that manufactured them. Not just normal magnets, but high-powered magnets.
And so with these magnetic monsters, it's a case of love at first sight.
These are not your normal magnet. It'll pull somewhere between 500 and 1,000 pounds. So
if you got 2 of these together, that's like dropping a 1,000-pound weight on your hand.
Yeah, if I put another one right here, you would lose your hand. You gotta have a license to handle these things.
Hands down, these magnets are dangerously powerful. But are they powerful enough to let Jamie climb the walls? Well, to find out, he's milling an aluminum bracket to hold the magnets in place. But getting the magnets in is causing Jamie to come unstuck.
I want you to hold this because I don't want it to jump at me.
You're bringing that magnet near here?
Yeah.
If Adam's not careful, this could be the last time he lends Jamie this particular hand.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Are you sure that I should be putting my hand here?
I'm not going to go over on that,
Okay.
but just be ready. We're good.
Okay. You know that I'm the only one here who appreciates how dangerous that actually is.
Uh-huh.
I'm going away now.
With the magnets holed up and a handle attached to the bracket, everything is ready for a test. It's so far so good. On this thick metal plate, the magnets work magnificently.
That actually is proof of concept right there. That is, in fact, holding my weight.
So it is.
And yet, I can just go like that.
So it's a go on the steel slab. But when Jamie tries it on some thin air duct-like metal, there's a problem.
The issue here is, quite simply, that this steel is not strong enough to do it. I mean, it's too thin and there's not enough energy. So, effectively, I hate to say it, but as far as climbing a duct, this ain't gonna do it, because this metal right here is about the same as what we would have in a duct.
The thin steel has a low saturation point, meaning there's a limit to the magnetic attraction it can generate, even with these super magnets.
Keep it away from me. Shunk.
So to get this plan off the ground, Jamie's ducking back to the drawing board. Meanwhile, Adam's had a heart-stopping delivery.
Clear! Beep! The plan is to scale a wall with these suction cups. Now, this may be the realm of cartoons, but I think it's possible. I'm gonna have these all going back to a manifold and a vacuum pump that I will wear on my body in a backpack. And I should be able to up a wall with these.
Instead of magnets, Adam's hoping these vacuum suction sucker cups will let him stick to the wall. But will they be strong enough for him to get it up?
Oh, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. Ow, I bumped my head. I think this is gonna work. But I can't possibly sit there with my thumbs like this.
Because generating the vacuum is making Adam's thumb numb, he's going to power up an electric vacuum pump
It's nice and quiet.
that should let him scale walls like a giant gecko. But that was more like a giant turkey.
That was better than you could have hoped for, wasn't it?
The MythBusters have an implausible mission. They're putting Hollywood heists to the test. Using the latest security systems from the silver screen, Adam and Jamie are going to separate fact from fiction. And first up is the air duct climb. Jamie's got stuck with a design based on magnets, and Adam's vacuum pump effort sucked. Literally. So to try to climb the ladder of inspiration, the MythBusters go to see what they're up against, because the security course is almost complete.
Whoa! This is like the jungle gym I always really wanted when I was a kid.
Here, there's more.
Okay.
They're here to help hone their plans for the air duct climb, but they can't resist a peek at the rest of the course.
This is similar to the device that Jamie sleeps in every night. Yeah, we'll get some email. I noticed you said that Jamie sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber. I'm interested in this, bro. High altitude training.
Because he looks so good.
Yeah.
I don't see a wrinkle on him.
He looks damn good for a man of 74.
Of course, to safely reach the safe, they'll have to complete the rest of the maze. So right now, they need to check out the air duct.
Oh, this is so cool! Ah!
Whoops, sorry.
That's crazy loud.
Thanks to Jamie's handiwork, Adam may be hard of hearing, but he's also confident his super suckers will be up to the task.
That is like, whew, can't wait.
So next, Magnet Man goes in for a closer look, which really isn't a good idea.
That's awful.
Well, yeah, it is. That's awful.
I just thought you should know.
The duct is awfully loud. Will either rig be quiet enough to squirm past security? Well, back at the shop, Adam's air duct sneak peek has made him slightly alter his suction setup. He's adding some switches that regulate the vacuum pump so that it's easier to control.
This controls my right hand and my right foot. This controls my left hand and my left foot. As long as these are not momentary push buttons. I push one and that valve is activated. That'll stick. I release it, it lets go.
And with Adam dressed like he belongs in the Matrix, he's made a stealth suit to be proud of.
Yeah, baby!
Suction cups on hands and feet, vacuum pump in backpack, and more wires than a New York switchboard means this heist hero is humming. But will it work?
Leg!
Initially, it looks like Suction Man is about as effective as Jamie's Magnet Man.
I see. This is a tough one. Hold on.
But slowly and surely, Adam gets the hang of it.
The trick is you can't let anyone be pulling a vacuum unless they're all attached. The vacuum's just not strong enough to pull it that quickly. But, leg released. Leg released. Hand. Dude, that's pretty good. I'm pretty psyched.
With Adam firing on all cylinders, Jamie, in light of the air vent visit, has also changed his design. He's built much larger hand brackets that'll hold 5 magnets each.
This is comical. These things are so powerful.
And with some high friction tape on top, it's problem solved. Finally, the addition of 2 foot stirrups means it's giddy up Jamie.
As far as I can tell, based on my tests, my rig should get me up and down this vent quite fine. It's very simple, it's brutal, but it works.
Jamie's stealth suit is not quite as technical as Adam's, but it may yet win this competition. Remember, this is what they're trying to do. Silently scale an air duct like a cinematic cat burglar. But will Adam and Jamie be like this guy, or more like this? Inspired by the movies, this wannabe robber slid his way into an air vent, but got stuck. Reluctantly, he had to call for help, and when the fire brigade cut him free, he was promptly arrested.
Okay guys, this is your first challenge. Your goal here is to enter the duct and climb up and over to get into the utility room as quietly and stealthily as you possibly can. And then we'll see who has the more valid approach.
In this highway robbery, Jamie's up first, but Adam's already predicting his downfall.
I think Jamie's just going to be like, "Tung, tung, tung," and I believe in the security manual, the proper response to that sound coming from your duct is to just riddle your duct with bullets.
With Carrie and Grant heading up security, bullet riddling is unlikely. But with Tori, you never know. Remember, the aim is to make a silent entry into the secret facility.
Jamie, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Start the timer, Grant.
Starting in 3, 2, 1,
Go, Jamie. Why, Thor, the god of thunder, is trying to enter my building.
Somebody needs to check that air conditioner.
Here's some key phrases from the surreptitious entry heist manual. Be the breeze, as light as a feather, the footfall of a kitten.
I guess I could get into a building too by beating on the ducting with a sledgehammer.
Jamie's hearing may be permanently damaged, but he's almost made it.
Jamie, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Jamie, do you think this is a practical way to get up a duct?
No.
It's been a brutal entry. Perhaps the noisiest attempted burglary in human history.
Surreptitious? I don't think so.
Adam's up next, and I think the suction cup idea is, if it doesn't malfunction somehow, is probably going to do very well. If he mistriggers or something happens to the control, he's going down.
This is like my dream come true. I am so happy right now.
Adam's purring like the cat burglar that got the cream, and he's soon up and running. But although he's more muted than Magnet Man, he's hardly covert, especially when he falls.
Oh,
You okay?
I'm fine.
How's your rig?
Hold on. I'm just having so much fun, I wanted to prolong it.
Like his mom taught him, Adam gets right back on the horse and inches his way up. But once again, it's far from convincing.
In a real situation, how does the movie myth hold up?
The movie myth is totally busted. The idea that you would trust your life to a single point of failure, like something like this, even with some redundant systems, this is a rough way to go. Better to walk in the front door dressed as a guard.
Despite his reservations, our duck devil has almost sucked his way to the finish line. All he has to do now is break through the grate, and he's in the utility closet.
Gotcha! Quick, they're surrounding the building!
We got you!
Unlike in the heist movies, climbing an air duct is not all it's cracked up to be. With enough noise to wake the police chief in the neighboring state, Adam and Jamie's surreptitious entry failed miserably.
The myth of gaining entry to a building through the duct system through some kind of suction or magnet, totally busted. But so much fun.
Given that this myth is about covert activity, as far as I'm concerned, the myth is busted. None of the techniques that we tried today are remotely what you could call covert.
So the air duct climb is busted, which means it's on to the next impossible mission, the myth of the laser-guarded room. But already this myth is looking shaky.
Well, we've done quite a bit of research to find one of these visible laser systems like you see in the movies. But in that process, we may have busted the myth outright. It seems that we couldn't come up with any laser systems for alarms that incorporated this visible red laser.
We've seen the movies. Our martial arts anarchist flips his way through the bright visible lasers, knowing that one broken beam will set off the alarm. But according to Grant, these glow-in-the-dark lasers simply don't exist outside Hollywood. So our mission controller has had to fashion a working alarm system using laser pointers. But he's added a plan B.
The thing that they have in real life are these. And these incorporate infrared beams. And they are beams, just like the laser, but these are invisible to the human eye, which makes them much more difficult to overcome.
So the room's got the fake lasers and then the real deal, the invisible beam alarm. But they both work on the same principle.
How this works is there's a transmitter and a receiver, and if you break the beam, you set off the alarm.
And the job of beating Grant's beams falls to Tori and Carrie.
The first technique to get past the laser beams is probably my favorite because it's the most absurd, but I think it's gonna work. It's the Catherine Zeta-Jones blow the powder into the laser beam so we can see where they are technique.
Well, it sure worked for Catherine Zeta-Jones. In Entrapment, she blows cosmetic powder onto the lasers, and suddenly they're lit up like Christmas. But is makeup made up?
Powder test? Definitely helps.
Blow by blow, the lasers do start appearing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's great.
But then Carrie gets carried away.
All right, let's get out of here before the cops come.
She blew so much powder that the fine particles were enough to break the beam. They reset and try again. And although Carrie squeezes round some lasers, the powder is making this myth turn to dust.
Once I had the powder in the air and I tried to get through the beams, I still had a problem because the minute the powder settled, all of a sudden I'm stuck in a weird position with no lasers to see, and I have to go for the powder again.
So powder is busted. But Tori wants to try something else that was also featured in Entrapment.
I'm just so excited, Grant.
I know.
I just want to.
Me too.
As well as the powder, Catherine Zeta-Jones was helped by her sidekick, who could see all the lasers clearly thanks to a night vision camera. But can equipment like this really make lasers glow in the dark? Well, Tori's got some military-style night vision goggles that should be perfect to put this myth to the test.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay, you good?
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, man.
What do you think?
See if this works.
The goggles work by infinitely intensifying the amount of light, even in a dark room like this.
What does it look like? What do you see?
It looks like bright sunlight's in here. It's like every hole, every window. It looks like it's a bright sunny day outside. This is sick.
Thanks to the goggles, the room's aglow. But there is a drawback.
I cannot see the beams though. All I can see are the points where the beams are hitting.
But you can't see any of the beams, so that doesn't really help you much.
No, it sure doesn't. Night vision goggles to help you see the laser beams, totally busted. It actually makes it harder to get through the lasers. So what I have next is a device that what I'm gonna do is stick a laser into the receiver, and hopefully I'll be able to break the beam of the existing laser system and not set off the alarm.
It's another trick from Entrapment. By shining her own lasers into the building's laser beam receptors, Catherine Zeta-Jones bypasses the laser alarm altogether.
Well, the real difficulty with this laser substitution technique is getting his beam on the correct axis to intercept the photoreceptor. If he doesn't get it exactly in there, It's not going to make a perfect match, and the alarm's going to go off.
It's a delicate operation which fails miserably. Just lining up the new beam is enough for Tori to trigger the alarm.
All right, let's try that again.
So for take 2, he tries coming in on an angle. And what do you know?
I think you're doing pretty good. That looks like it's pretty centered.
Cool.
Now we can rob the place. Yeah, that's awesome.
They've beaten the visible lasers, but been sprung by the infrared.
This is why you don't see laser systems anymore, because they're easy to defeat. You see the laser, you can either get around them or introduce your own laser and disarm the system.
The MythBusters are tackling some crime cliffhangers as they put Hollywood heists to the test. With the air duct climb and visible lasers done and dusted, it's time to up the ante.
Well, Carrie and Tori made it all the way through the mythical laser beam system, but then they set off the real-world equivalent of that, which is an infrared photobeam detector. And that one's going to be a lot harder for them to defeat.
All right, time to test the infrared.
I've got the powder.
The reason this latest challenge is more challenging is because these infrared beams are invisible to the naked eye.
Nope.
This time, Carrie's makeup doesn't light them up.
I don't actually make that noise, but I like that noise.
And neither does Tori's night vision goggles. A combination of the two does let Tori catch a momentary glimpse of the beam.
It's almost as if somebody had a flashlight and you were blowing dust in front of a flashlight. That's exactly what it looks like.
But then the powder puts a nail in this myth's coffin. So for these infrared beams, it's time to change tactic.
I'm going to attempt to build an optical doorway so that I can trick the laser beams into thinking that there's one continuous beam, where instead it's going to be diverted from mirror to mirror to mirror to mirror to mirror, going from one laser to the receiver, but making a doorway that you can walk right through.
The theory is simple, but putting it into practice is a different matter entirely. For a start, the thing is massive. If these guys are cat burglars, then this is a saber-toothed tiger.
It's amazing how we snuck this through all the ducting.
Okay, we're reset.
Let's just shove it in there and see what happens.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's a shock.
The only doorway that's leading to is jail. The problem is that just putting the mirrors in the beam is causing the alarm to go off. So Grant comes to the rescue by inactivating the alarm.
Okay, you're clear.
So we didn't want to just give up right there. So we turned off the alarms. We entered the optical doorway. We've adjusted all the mirrors using a little laser sight, and hopefully when we flip the alarm back on, nothing will happen.
Stand by for reset.
With the alarm rearmed,
I can't believe that this is working.
the optical doorway works. But given that it needed the security guard's help as a way of beating an alarm, it's so impractical that it's busted.
Okay guys, you're within sight of your final goal. But before you get there, this is your second to last challenge. And this is a classic one with the glass. Cutting a hole in the glass, stick something on, and then you pop it out.
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
But you have to do it without setting off another sensor.
What kind of sensor do you have?
This sensor is going to be inside listening for glass breaking. So it's just looking for a sharp sound that would correspond to smashing something.
All right, let's get some glass cutters and go.
It sounds simple, but as Jamie's finding out, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Oh, shoot.
So,
The MythBusters have an hour to find the best glass cutting solution before returning to the maze. They first try the classic suction cups technique.
I don't think this is going to do anything.
But they just can't suck the glass out of the hole. So they move on to thermal shock. Extreme hot, then cold, should fracture the glass along its circular groove. But it fails catastrophically. Next, Adam tries tapping a smaller hole, which does work, but is so noisy it will easily trigger Grant's sonar alarm.
So, it is possible to make a hole in pane of glass without breaking the whole thing. The question is it possible to do it silently?
Well, given that the tapping was too loud, their final effort using a drill is a rather odd idea. Even for a glass-is-half-full person, it's not going well. And then, to make matters worse, it's time up on the practice, and they've got to hit the maze.
Security cameras are running, and system is armed.
Adam starts by going full circle and trying again with the suction cups,
I don't hear any cracking at all.
but gets nowhere.
That's not working.
Really?
So then they gamble with the glass tapping, the only method that worked earlier.
That!
But they get busted. The sonar alarm means the cops are on their way.
I think it's time for Plan B.
Okay.
With the alarm reset, Plan B involves first drilling a tiny hole, but that's as far as the plan ever gets.
Well, it didn't set off the
That's
glass.
tempered glass, man! It hasn't set off the alarm yet. It's still making lots of crinkly noises, though.
If any of that glass falls on the inside, the alarm is going to go off.
This may look disastrous, but actually it's an incredible stroke of luck. The glass has shattered, but not set off the alarm.
Just a little bit. Let me do it. I'm just doing a little bit at a time.
And because the glass is tempered and laminated, all Jamie has to do is pick it out piece by piece.
You are doing pretty darn well.
Until he can get his arm through and open the door from the inside.
Come on. Oh, oh! That's it. You're in. You can pull out. We did it! We're in!
They've cracked it. Admittedly, it's not quite like they'd planned for, but they're in.
The myth that you could gently cut a nice little hole in a window and pop it out with a suction cup like you see in the movies, like cat burglars do, it's totally busted.
Back at Heist headquarters, Adam and Jamie have just busted their way into the jewelry room, albeit with a slice of luck.
We did it!
So now the booty awaits.
So this is the golden idol of Buster, and it's the final goal for Tori and Carrie. I'm going to rig it with pressure sensors.
It's a Hollywood favorite. After beating the lasers, our cat-suited cat burglar is faced with a pressure switch.
Preparing pressure switch neutralization device.
But that's easy. Some gum and a knife locks it in place, and she's away. But did she bite off more than she could chew?
Okay, try and steal that.
Well, it's down to Tori and Carrie to find out. Remember, Carrie has to slide the knife in while maintaining the pressure on the switch.
I will slide it under and then you hold it down while I chew the gum.
Okay.
Will this razor-sharp technology really cut it? In a word, no. Even squeezing the knife in is enough to set off the alarm.
Okay, we're armed.
So they try again, but dish up the same result.
Gonna stop?
Maybe we should just leave. We should run. Forget the idol.
Okay, trying one last time.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some pressure.
But third time lucky and she's in. So now for the gum.
There's nothing more attractive than the sound of gum being chewed.
Yeah, there is. Watching you chew the gum.
Okay.
Will the gum be gummy enough to hold the pressure switch in place?
When I move the knife, we lose pressure on the button. What we need to do is slide the knife.
No.
I don't think the gum's gonna be enough pressure.
Terrible. Doesn't work at all. There's just, when you're chewing the gum, it's soft. There's just not enough stick to hold it down into place.
Lucky then that these larcenists came prepared.
If we were in a heist, we would bring tape. Let's try tape.
Okay.
Will the tape stick it out any better?
Okay, ready?
Yeah?
Yes!
Yeah! All right!
All right, let's go. Well, we got the idol. The last thing that's left to do is cracking the safe.
And that's,
Jamie and Adam.
yep.
Yeah?
They've downed the air duct, dismissed the lasers, shattered the myth of the glass cutting, and busted Buster's pressure switch. So all that remains is the safe cracking. Well, not quite just the safe. Grant's rigged one last security surprise.
What did I set up?
Before the booty prize comes the booby trap.
What am I tripping? Ah, crap. I'm tripping a pressure sensor on the floor. That's what it is. There's one last challenge here.
He's using the security pedestal.
Grant sneakily hid a pressure pad to catch the safecrackers red-handed.
Pressure sensor foiled.
Once the sensor's overloaded, the safe busting can begin. And to start, Adam's going to use that old movie favorite, the stethoscope. But he may not be the best person for the job.
And what?
After all, when the team tested the myth of the subterranean listening post, Carrie came good. But Adam, as a sentry, was fired.
20.
I was watching your finger.
Yeah, nothing. I didn't hear anything on that one.
I was watching her finger.
I did.
You did?
She did.
Luckily, he's rigged his stethoscope with a special amplifier, which means that even deaf as a post savage should hear what's going on.
It's hard to do with all that pounding.
He's trying to find out at what combination the lock wheels click into place, but it's slow progress, and Jamie's not impressed.
All this kind of gentle feeling and, hole drilling is for pansies. It's like, give me a stick of dynamite, we'll open that safe right away.
Adam keeps listening, but after almost 20 minutes, hasn't heard a pin drop, let alone a tumbler.
I could spend another couple of hours doing this, but
Were you making any headway with it?
there's headway to be made. It's just, it's going to take me 2 more hours. And even then, I'm not sure that I'll succeed.
Official time, 19 minutes, 48 seconds.
So the listening has fallen on deaf ears. But it's always safe to assume there's a plan B. And as with most plan Bs, it's much more destructive.
Funnily enough, they make these things hard to pry off.
Adam's new plan is much more about breaking and entering.
Adam gave up on just trying to crack it by sound, and now he's got a drill, and it looks like he's drilling a hole to put the borescope through so he can see the tumblers.
It may not look like much, but he's hoping to use this image to help him pick the tumblers into the correct alignment.
Piano wire. Have you got any? See that right there?
Getting tuned into this safe is slowly coming together, but Adam's already been at it for 45 minutes.
Oh, wait, I'm so close. I'm just trying to move something the tiniest bit out of the way, and then I'm in.
If this was real life, even the most dozy security guard would have busted our burglars.
I got it.
Yay!
Hey, you got it!
Did it! There you go.
Hey, you made it!
I did.
Fantastic.
Although I still think my method's a little slow.
Yeah. Well, our information says that, the safes are rated in number of minutes to take to crack.
Yeah.
For a professional safe cracker. Guess how long that safe was?
40 minutes?
5.
5.
5 minutes for a professional safe cracker.
That's a 5-minute safe, yeah.
Of course, professional safecrackers don't always need to be as quiet as Adam had to be. So for a first attempt, he did pretty darn well.
Final thoughts on our impossible heist. Duct climbing.
No way. It's busted. There's Not any way that you're going to get up a duct surreptitiously without being detected.
And lasers?
Well, visible laser alarm systems don't even exist. And yes, we were able to get around them, but you're only going to see them in Hollywood.
And infrared lasers, the ones people really use, the real deal, are virtually impossible to get past.
Really?
And then glass breaking was busted.
Okay, my personal favorite, safe cracking.
Well, yes, you did crack the safe, but not nearly as fast as they do in the movies.
With a little bit of practice, though, who knows?
Well, we have one final challenge for you. You've cracked the safe, you've gotten the goods, and now you have to escape to a waiting helicopter on the roof.
Okay, sounds easy. What?
There are two things that make it harder. One, you have to use your suction cups. And two, it's a 23-story building!
It's the final twist in the tale for this Hollywood heist. Armed with the booty, Adam's last challenge is to make a Spider-Man-like escape by climbing this 23-story building using his suction cups.
Oh, dude. Woo. Oh, yeah. Look, I can tell you the numbers, 325 feet, 23 stories, but unless you're standing where I'm standing and looking at this view from here, it wouldn't sink in how bloody high in the air I am.
And how far there is to fall.
And how far there is to fall.
But to try to stop Adam falling to his death, the team has roped in professional climber Wayne Campbell. It's Wayne's job to ensure that there are no slip-ups in this ultimate test for Adam's stealth suit.
All right, let's go. Are we good to go?
Just like in the duck, Adam's going to be armed with suction cups on his hands and feet, powered by a vacuum pump in his backpack. But for this impossible mission, there's some new additions. In the duct, when Adam accidentally activated the vacuum when a suction cup was not planted on the duct wall, the whole rig would come unstuck. So for this daredevil mission, he's put special pressure switches on the suction cups, which means that he can only activate the vacuum when all 4 pads are aligned on the glass. All 23 stories of it. It's one of the most daring stunts in MythBusters history. And as Adam makes the final preparations, the nerves are starting to show.
My heart is pounding, no doubt. I'm not afeared of my safety, but it is a daunting prospect to get all the way to the top of that.
Adam's putting on a brave face, but Jamie's being much more realistic.
It is a situation that we need to be very, very careful, because if we do something wrong, he could die.
In great Hollywood heists, Adam is about to see if he can clamber up this 23-story building using suction cups.
4th suction cup is on.
And if this isn't a hard enough challenge, to make matters worse, the weather forecast says that a storm is brewing. All in all, it's not looking good.
The one thing that I'm a little nervous about is the amount of wind that's up there. The riggers are up there, they say it's pretty darn windy up there.
With the Grim Reaper lurking uncomfortably close, Adam wants to say his farewells.
Could someone send my wife up here so she can kiss me?
With the last kiss goodbye, it's time for Adam to reject gravity and substitute his own.
Oh, what'd you do?
But almost immediately there's a problem.
That just shut it off.
We've got a short in the system that's stopping the vacuum pump from operating. You found it, Jamie? Hold on, wait.
It's right here.
It's right there?
It's right at the key start.
Adam's vacuum pump keeps shorting out, but because he's made his rig so complicated, fixing it ain't exactly like falling off a wall.
Okay, I can fix this. I'm just gonna have to tape it on.
Just join the two together.
Yeah.
But after a tense 20 minutes, it's good for take 2.
Am I ready to climb?
You're good to go. Oh, good luck there, little buddy.
Thank you.
At last, he's up and away, and the crowd go ballistic. but not for long.
Oh! I'm all right. I'm okay. Woo!
Okay.
After just 3 steps, Adam's a dropout.
Total disaster.
Good thing our motto is failure is always an option.
Well, you know, any result's a result, that's for sure.
It looks to me like you got a few bugs in the system. Now,
This isn't for the kids, but
As the team heads inside for a post-mortem, let's see how it should be done. In 1981, without any safety backup, adrenaline junkie Dan Goodwin scaled more than 100 stories using only steel hooks and suction cups.
We're on our way to the zoo, and this is definitely better than watching elephants.
Unfortunately, when he came down in the elevator, he was immediately arrested. But if Spider Dan could do it, why not Adam?
this is an awful rig, basically. You know, he's got straps everywhere, wires everywhere, tubes everywhere, switches, and like, if it doesn't work, you don't really know what's going wrong and where without having to kind of unravel the whole rat's nest and figure it out. It's a pain.
It turns out that Adam's safety system shorted out, so he stripped it off. But that presents another problem.
Now the error is more of a human operator error because I need to only click on the vacuum when my cups are contacting the wall.
So this last climb's all up to Adam's brain power, and that's got Jamie rather concerned.
It'll be just up to Adam's concentration, which we all know is maybe going to be a bit of a problem. But if he focuses and he really tries hard, he might just make it up this building.
Okay.
After those words of encouragement,
System checks out okay.
it's time for Adam to reach for the skies. But with the crowd getting restless and the rain beginning to fall, his nerves are starting to show.
I don't have a lot of time to hang like this. My foot is stuck. My right foot is stuck. The bottom pad is stuck in the vent, in the building, on the building. There we go. Hand.
Once Adam's footloose and fancy-free, his rig seems to be working.
Leg. Hand. Leg.
He keeps repeating the mantra, hand, hand, leg, leg, and to good effect.
Leg.
He gets past the 3rd floor. Then he gurns his way past the 4th. While the suction cups no longer suck, another problem is starting to rasp. Adam hadn't counted on the sheer effort needed for this climb. He's panting harder than a dog in the desert, and exhaustion is not concentration's friend.
Leg. Oh! Whoa!
Hanging by a thread, Adam decides enough is enough.
Guys, I'm done. I'm ready to be lowered down. I've stopped moving around. I just don't have any more strength. That's about it for me.
It's been a valiant effort, but unlike the guys in the movies, Adam just hasn't got the brawn. And sure ain't a superhero.
I think I proved the concept that you can climb a wall with suction cups. I don't think anyone had a hard time imagining that that was plausible. But as a viable way to get into a building, for crying out loud, you need to be an Olympic athlete. Like me.
The famous motto of the Olympic Games is swifter, higher, and braver. Unfortunately, Adam failed on all 3 counts. Slower, lower, and meek would be a little more apt.
So we can get out of the rain. How are we going to wrap this one up? Magnets.
Well, you know, if you happen to have an all-steel building that you wanted to climb, and personally I don't know of any, but if you had one, you could, but it's not practical. So I would say it's plausible, but not practical.
I would come to the same conclusion for the suction cups. We have definitely a proof of concept on this beautiful building, but it is probably the dumbest way you could choose to get entry.
Take the elevator.
Yeah, plausible, but impractical.
All right.
Let's go get dry.
All right.